Good afternoon. We're here today at the Vance Center, better known as Vance Community Partners, Inc., and we're located on Cherry Street, 216 Cherry Street. And today we have a very interesting person that is here, a person I've worked with for many years, and his name is Stan Huskey. And I will have him introduced in just one second, but I just wanted to tell you that Stan and I have been together for a long time from the standpoint of where he was working before at the Times Herald. He was the Times Herald executive director there, and he handled all of the news that happened in Norristown. So he knows Norristown almost better than I. So why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself, Stan?
Well, I don't know about better than you. Let's start right there. But it's great to be here. Thank you very much for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I've been around a while. I was named editor-in-chief of the Times Herald in 2002. And I had that seat until 2017 when I finally left. So I got to know Norristown pretty darn good. And before that, I was a beat reporter,
Right.
and then became city editor. Then left for a couple of years, went over to Phoenixville and was editor over there from 2000 to 2002 when I came back to Norristown. And of course, you being chief of detectives, we got to know each other a little bit, and
quite a few times, late at night.
Yes. You know, I think both of us have been trying to do something for Norristown for quite a while now, and I'm starting to get a little bit of a feeling. That things are starting to turn around for Norristown, and that's a good feeling. So,
and I feel the same way, Stan. And I can remember that you and I came together. It was back in 2012, to be exact, when I retired from the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office, and we decided that we were going to start and rehabilitate the Center Theater, and that's spelled, by the way, C-E-N-T-R-E, and that's located at 208 DeKalb Street. And Stan is the secretary-treasurer there, and we're on the board together. I'm the chairman of the board of the Center Theater, and we rehabilitated that place back in 2012. Tell us a little bit about the beginning of that.
well, yeah, in 2012 we didn't rehabilitate it. In 2012 we were just getting started. As you remember, I'm sure your audience probably doesn't know, but it was in bad shape. You know, it was in arrears to the electric company. It was in arrears to the mortgage company. Lightning literally struck the building. And if you remember, we couldn't even get in the building.
That's correct.
We went up to Theater Horizon, had a fundraiser up there, did very well with that, and raised a good bit of money, and started chipping away at the debt that we were in. And it took some time. You know, it wasn't until I think it was 2018 that we started talking about actually rehabbing the theater.
Yes.
And that's when we went in, did a little more fundraising, got rid of all the old banquet chairs and the plywood risers that were in there.
Yes.
If you remember, it was a 72-seat black box theater.
That's correct.
We were able to buy some real theater seats with cup holders. I always like to throw that in, that we have cup holders. And now we're a 125-seat theater with
Yes.
real theater seats, real risers. Very fortunate, and I do want to throw this in, that the Regional Council of Carpenters
That's correct.
did all the work for free for us.
Along with the electrical union,
Along with
too.
the IBEW 98, did all the electric work for us free. We had to buy the materials.
Yes, I remember
But
that.
as anyone knows, materials are just half the cost, and labor is at least half as much again.
Well, you also have a 501c3, and yours is called Cutting Board.
Well, it's not. That's not a 501c3. That's my regular business.
That's your regular business?
That's the
Tell us
consulting.
something about that.
The Cutting Board Consulting actually started in 2013 when I was still with the Times Herald.
Okay.
I was helping people out with a little government work. We were actually trying to bring a Korean university to Norristown, Dong-Sao University. We had the president of the university flew over. We had meetings with state legislators and federal legislators, and we got really close, as a lot of projects do, and it just didn't, in the end, it just didn't work out. So that was kind of the start of my consulting business, and did a little more along the way, and then was being courted a little bit by Elmwood Park Zoo. And Elmwood Park Zoo, the CEO over there, Al Zone, asked me to come help him out a little bit with some government affairs work. And in 2017, I made that transition and retired from the newspaper business.
Okay, matter of fact, Al Zone is very much involved with what we're going to be talking about today, as far as the June 6th jazz show that we have down at the Center Theater.
Quite a bit, yeah, actually. And we're in partnership with the zoo down at Center Theater now.
That's correct.
And they run programs down there. And of course, the third floor, we have the Charles L. Blockson exhibition that's open every single weekend from 10 to 4 or 10 to 5. Opens at 10 a.m.
Right.
It's just an incredible exhibition. Loaded. I don't know if you've talked about the Blockson exhibit on your show yet, but it is loaded with African and African American artifacts that just nobody can find anywhere in the world. Charles Blockson was the premier collector of memorabilia, and we have some incredible things there. Including writings from Tupac Shakur and photos from the Robert Mosley collection and all kinds of different things, including Mr. Blockson's own collection.
Mr. Blockson, I knew him for many years prior to him coming to the Center Theater, and I knew his father, and I knew the whole family. They lived on Penn Street, by the way, in Norristown. And he was a very influential person from the standpoint of artifacts, and he did a lot in the area of Temple University and that collection. So we were fortunate enough to have that collection down at the Center Theater, and we will be doing a special presentation pertaining to Mr. Blockson at a later date with our podcast.
Oh, absolutely. He deserves his own show, absolutely. And just to be clear, what we have is a very, very small portion of that collection.
That's correct.
He donated more than 600,000 pieces to Temple University. He went to Penn State, where he donated another 100,000 pieces. But his idea was always that, kids from Norristown probably are not going to travel the 3.5 hours out to Penn State, but they might go down to Temple.
Correct.
So he donated the majority of his collection to Temple University.
So that outstanding collection will also be available the night that they have the jazz show.
The jazz show, yep. We'll have a bit of an open house where people can walk around and check out the theater. We want them to go up to the 4th floor and see the theater as well. Since we partnered up with the zoo, they've done a little bit of additional work up there and put some Art Deco feel back into the theater. With the inside of our elevator, a lot of people might not know this. The ceiling of the inside of our elevator is a recreation of a small section of the facade that used to sit out in front of the Norris Theater.
That's correct.
Which that facade in whole is still in a museum down in Miami, at the Wolfsham Museum, I believe it's called.
Yes.
But we've recreated a small section of that inside the elevator. If you look up when you get in the elevator, you can see it.
So that theater's been there for quite some time.
In one shape or another. The building was built in 1850. It was built as an International Order of Odd Fellows building. The date's right on the building, so it's pretty clear. And the theater then was on the 2nd floor.
That's correct.
There are 19-foot high ceilings on the 2nd floor, which is where our offices are now. But the theater was on the 2nd floor when it was built, and now it's up on the 4th floor.
Very good. Tell us a little bit about June the 6th. That's going to be the focus in terms of the jazz show.
Yes. Well, June the 6th is what I'm excited about. That's what I came to talk about. It's our first, our launch of the Tom Sawyer Jazz and Supper Club. So this came about. The building has a Mark Twain connection. He
Yes.
performed in the building in 1871. So we're connecting to that as often as possible.
Tell me about that jazz supper club that they're
Yeah.
going to have on June the 6th.
June the 6th.
Yeah, give me a little bit of.
I almost went off on a tangent there,
Yes.
didn't I? So June the 6th, we're launching the Tom Sawyer's Jazz and Supper Club. We have, speaking of Mr. Al Zone, he has a catering company, Zone's Catering, and he is doing the food. I just got the menu, and it sounds awesome.
I'll bet it's tasty.
I'm sure it will be. Filet mignon and crab cakes will be the first thing that you're served. So that's a great start to any meal.
And what are you going to have a place for a little libation there for the?
The bar will be open. Absolutely.
Very good.
Cocktails start at 5:30, and dinner at supper. I gotta say supper because it's a supper club.
Okay.
Cocktails at 5:30, supper at 6:30. We have Jeff Jones and the Jazz Band coming. We're really excited about this. I first heard Jeff Jones at the theater
Yes.
when he was there for another event, and immediately said, "I want to hire you guys." And then after chatting with him for a little bit, I asked him if he knew any Jimmy Smith tunes. Jimmy Smith was a jazz organist from Norristown who innovated the jazz organ, I guess.
Yes.
And he said, absolutely. He said, we know several. And I just spoke with him a couple of weeks ago, and he said they're actually rehearsing some Jimmy Smith tunes.
Matter of fact, I have a couple of his albums at home, and I always remember the one where he is standing next to a boxcar, and he's leaning outside the boxcar, and he has some beautiful music on there. Jimmy Smith was very well known in ours.
I may actually have that at the theater.
Oh, very good.
Is that the Chicken Shack? Is that the Chicken
Yes,
Shack one?
yes.
It is, isn't it? Okay,
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah, we're really excited about that, and especially the fact that they know a couple of his tunes that we'll be able to play, and we'll be able to make that connection, and just a deeper connection to Norristown. You know, we had a Josh Culbreath exhibit there. We've had, obviously the Charles Blockson exhibit there. But back to the Supper Club, we're going to run that in conjunction with the First Fridays in Norristown. So every first Friday of the month through the end of the year, we'll have the Supper Club, except for the first Friday in July, which happens to be July 4th this year.
Oh, okay.
So we probably won't run it on that day.
Right.
But other than that, we will have it the September first Friday. We're also going to do that in connection with the Monco Anti-Hunger Network.
Right.
And do a fundraiser for them. It's an incredible organization. Hopefully you'll have me back on the show between now and then.
Yes, we'll be doing a lot more with you, Stan, in reference to the first Fridays of every month, and also with the various podcasts that we'll be doing with the people that will be performing the jazz ensembles during that period of time.
Well, we do want, and Jeff Jones is absolutely wide open to it. We want to have special guests come in. We want,
Right.
if we have any jazz musicians in the area who are listening, we want to have special guests come in and play with the band. We want to kind of have them as our own house band, and he's wide open to that. So
And the same as we're doing the podcast today, all those people that would like to come to the Vance Center to do the podcast as we're doing now for more advertisements and different things that they want to do for their organizations will be available for that. We have a very
great.
capable person who's doing that, and he is here today filming us at this present time. That's Mr. Burke, and you met him on numerous
I did.
occasions. Yes,
I did.
and he does
Benjamin
a
Burke.
fantastic job. Fantastic job.
So listen, yeah, we're really excited about the Jazz and Supper Club. This is something that Norristown needs. Before I was the editor of the Times Herald, I was editor of the Phoenix over in Phoenixville, and the Colonial Theater over there, quite honestly, is what brought that town back. When I was there in 2000, it looked a lot like Norristown. It was a little down on its luck, and Colonial Theater kept plugging away. They did the reenactment of the Blob every year.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and when I was there, they might get half a dozen people to come running out of the theater. Well, now you have to have a lottery ticket to get in to be one of the people that get to run out of the theater and be part of the event. So, and of course, you know, Friday and Saturday nights in Phoenixville are just packed with all the restaurants and different things going on. But I firmly believe it all started with the Colonial Theater and a vision, obviously.
Right.
But you know, we want Norristown's revitalization to start with the Center Theater and Theater Horizon. They're great.
That is correct.
Great event right up the hill from us, which is Norristown Arts Hill. I'll come back on and talk about Norristown Arts Hill as well.
Right, that's good. And one of the things that I want to stress to the listeners and people who are watching this, Norristown is the county seat of Montgomery County. The county seat of Montgomery County. And what that means is that is the same as the White House is to the United States of America. Okay, on a local level.
Right.
And we have a very fantastic town here, and it is becoming more noticed today. And we have a beautiful building in the middle of Norristown, the courthouse, matter of fact. That there's a beautiful building, they call it the Justice Center. That's right in the center of Norristown. Mm-hmm. And it would be great for people to just come up and tour the place, not only during jazz at the theater, but also to just come up and see the town, walk through the town, go down to the zoo, the Elmwood Park Zoo, and some of the other places that are designated as earmarks and landmarks for the town. So we want to thank you for coming today, and if there's anything else that you would like to add to this advertisement, more or less, for first Fridays of the month,
little PR.
We're more than glad to hear.
Well, the only thing I would add is what you said about coming into town. You know, come into town, come in on a weekend, and come to the Center Theater and go through the block sitting exhibit. It's absolutely amazing. You can spend a lot of time there. Come into town, and we have a couple of incredible restaurants in town. We have August Moon and La Michicana right across the street from each other down on the East Main Street. You have new El Jefe, has games inside. It has incredible Mexican food. It's a really nice restaurant. So there are some things to do in Norristown right now. Five Saints Distilling is open on Saturday afternoons. Come and see that and check that out.
Right,
it's in an old historic firehouse. So it's something to see. You know, it's not just some of these. You know, I'll never forget. I was in a meeting once with the head of the King of Prussia district,
right.
And he said, and it blew my mind. He said, you know, Norristown has something King of Prussia will never have, and that's a downtown district. You know, King of Prussia doesn't have that. We have a very historic downtown district, and buildings like the Center Theater, built in 1850, are a huge part of that. And we just want to get people to come back to Norristown.
That's true. And I'm glad that we had this opportunity to talk about Norristown and the advantages of this town being the #1 area and the center seat of Montgomery County. Another great thing that we have here is the waterway.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
We have the Schuylkill River right there, right
3
here.
miles. 3 miles of waterfront.
3 miles of waterfront, and if you have a boat, or if you're into sculling and things of that nature, you can come right down on the waterway into Norristown. And I bet there's many people that didn't even know that.
Right. And that needs to be developed more. We'd love to have some developers come in and take a look at that property, because again, 3 miles of waterfront, that you know, people flock to the water, and if you have waterfront, you have things going on that waterfront, people will come.
Okay. All right. Well, this is just a thumbnail sketch in terms of what we talked about in reference to June the 6th. And I want to encourage all those people who are looking and listening to what we have to say, sign up for that June the 6th. We have a maximum of 50 seats down there, so get your tickets early, because it's going to be a fabulous night, it's going to be a fabulous time, and it's going to be fabulous music that is going to be coming from there. So be there.
If I can throw back in, you can get tickets at thecentertheater.com.
Okay. All right. And also, go on your websites and check out the Center Theater. You'll see
a lot going on right now. Yep. We have an independent film festival this weekend. This weekend we have a bunch of independent filmmakers that are coming in on Saturday and Sunday. A couple premieres actually are going to be showing. So I don't know how soon this will go out, but hopefully we can get the word out to a few people. That's this Saturday and Sunday at the theater.
Okay, like I said, this is only the beginning.
Tip of the iceberg.
Okay, the tip of the iceberg at the Vance Center. So please come out, see what we have here in Norristown, visit the Center Theater, and just enjoy yourself in a fantastic place known as Norristown, which is the center of the county and the county seat. Thank you.